the key to the highway, built out and bound to go. I won't leave here running, walking is most too slow. I'm going back to the border, woman, where I'm better known. You know you ain't done nothing except drove a good man from home. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out the blues standard, The Key to the Highway. I'm going to be basing it roughly on the way that Eric Clapton played it, but it was originally recorded by Big Bill Broonzy. There's a little bit of ambiguity as to who actually wrote the song, but it was Big Bill that came up with this really nice 8-bar blues version, which is the one that became a blues standard. So we're going to be looking at in the key of A, first of all. You can play it real nice and simple using just A, D, and E, open shuffle. That's real nice. We're also going to have a look at how to play the melody. So playing the melody on guitar is a really great way to start a solo and a good way of kind of looking at the way the notes of the melody fit with the chords too. We are going to touch a little bit on the Big Bill Broonzy one, which is in the key of E. It's a little bit more of a kind of guitar arrangement, and to be honest, it's still one I'm working on. I've transcribed the first chunk of it, so I'm going to share that with you, but I'm still working on the playing of it myself. It is the kind of version, I guess, if I'm improvising around, I tend to base my improvisations on the kind of some of the approaches that Big Bill used himself. But anyway, let's get to a close-up and check it out. So let's start off by just checking out this open shuffle. This is included in my beginner course if you want more detail on it. Just very quickly, first finger, second fret on the 4th string, and we're going to play the open A string at the same time, just those 2 strings. So you play those twice and then put third finger down the 4th fret of the 4th string. So that's the same string the first finger was in. You play that twice as well. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you want to shuffle here, of course. You're not going, if it's straight, sounds like that, a bit weird. You want 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A lot more information about the muting and stuff over on the website if you need to dig into a little bit more about that. Now, taking it through the tune now. So we start on A for 1 bar, then we drop down to E, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got 2 bars on the D. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then A, 2, 3, 4 to E, 2, 3, 4, back to A, and back to E, although there's usually a turnaround there. Let's put the words in. I got the A to the E chord, then I got 2 bars of D. I'm gonna A chord here for a bar, then E, 'cause walking is most to A. Then we got the turnaround. Again, I'm going A to the E chord, then we got 2 bars of D. You know you A chord nothing to E, but drove a good man from A, and down to E if you're not putting that turnaround in. So relatively simple there. Let's go through that turnaround because I really think that it kind of makes the tune really effective there. So it's the last couple of bars. We got the A, then we're shifting little finger up to the 7th fret on the 4th string. First finger is going down on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Play that twice. First finger moves up to the 5th fret. Second finger down there in the 6th fret of the 5th string. And then we play once here the 3rd finger, 7th fret of the 5th string. So it's a little chromatic climb up. And then normally finish it with an E7 chord, hopefully one that you're familiar with, like a open C7 that you're almost certainly familiar with, but 3rd finger up there on the root note, that's the note E. so there's an E7. So that last part you'd have A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4. You could use lots of different rhythms there on that end E chord, but just to keep it real simple, which is always what I recommend when you're learning a new tune, start with the most basic version that you can. Make sure you can play the tune before you start adding any embellishments. You don't want to be adding embellishments and having them throw you off the rhythm. The rhythm and being able to make those chord changes and keep the groove on is the most important thing with all music, not just this tune. Okay, so really work on making sure that's solid first of all. There are a few little things, little twiddles that you can add in here, which I think kind of sound pretty nice. So on the D, quite often Clapton does just moving that third finger up to the 5th fret. Okay, you can do it normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And again, you can do these little, lots of little embellishments that you can add though. These kind of things, you can add them in a little bit willy-nilly, but particularly this one sounds nice here, going down to the A. That's 3rd fret, 4th fret on the 5th string. A, 2, 3. And again, use that getting down to the E, 3rd and 4th frets on the thicker string, getting to the E. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Then you got the turnaround. There are lots of different turnarounds you can use. This is just one that I feel works really well with that shuffle pattern. But if you want to put in a different turnaround, I would encourage you to explore these kind of tunes. Take a basic version and then just play around with it. See if you can make it your own version, the way that most blues masters have taken the older versions and come up with their own interpretation. Okay, so let's have a little look at this melody. So I'm really thinking about kind of singing it as I play. I got the key. So now we're starting off with a slide up to the 11th fret on the 3rd string with the 2nd finger. Then 1st finger playing the root note, which is A, 10th fret on the 2nd string. Then we've got a tone bend from the 12th fret, 2nd string. Okay, now this is obviously the root. This is the 6th of the key of A, but it's just a nice note and it works with the melody. I got the key. Now this bend, this is bending it up to the note C sharp, which if I make a little A bar chord up there, you can see it's a chord tone. It's not minor pentatonic now, we're playing out of the chord. Then, I got the key to the highway. Note here that we're finishing on this note B, okay, which would be an unusual note over an A, but it's actually, if you think of it as like here's an E chord, I know we're right up the dusty end here, but that note is in the E chord. That's why it sounds so great going. Because we're ending on that chord tone from the E. I got the key. Bend, release, down to A, bend, and then drop it down. I got the key to the highway, built out and bound to go. So this is 12th fret on the thinner string, and then the unbent note. And here, you definitely want to go for a little semitone bend there on the 12th. Okay, so this is, you're thinking about the chord, so we got, I got the A to the E chord, built out and bound to go. That bound is the note C. Again, with that one that we were targeting there. That's there. You want to play that C. The note C sounds great over the D7 chord. The note C sharp, the tone bend, would sound really sour. So that's why, the first time you can do a tone bend because it's going up to C sharp, but then we've stopped the bend to match the E chord. You just want targeting the C note, semitone bend. I'm gonna leave here. Now we're back to the tone bend because it's gone back to the A chord. Now here, bend. I'm going 10th fret, slide down to the 8th fret, and then hitting the E note again because we've gone to the E7 chord at that point. We've got the E 9th fret on the 3rd string, if I can count the strings today. Leave here running, walking is most too slow. Walking, 9th fret to the 11th fret on the 3rd string. Walking is most too slow. And this one, so I'm using a semitone, but you could actually bend a tone there as well, but I think the semitone sounds nicer. Walking is most too slow, most too slow. Semitone bend 12-10. I got the key to the highway, built out and bound to go. I'm gonna leave here running. Walking is most too slow. And if you want to add a turnaround, you can add a little turnaround at the end. Of course, the turnaround would be kind of probably, if you were improvising, you would go off there on a bit of a tangent. And all I am trying to do there is replicate the melody on the guitar. When it comes to doing a solo, really nice way to start a solo is quoting the melody a bit. You don't have to play that whole thing, but I feel like having that as a kind of reference point to start off with can be really valuable, especially it's an 8-bar blues. You might find yourself kind of starting to play on your regular 12-bar blues licks in the key of A, which don't work quite so well in here. You have to be, but it's a good idea to be a little bit more aware of the chord changes. Let's have a little bit of a sniff around the Big Bill Broonzy version. Like I said, I'm still working on it myself, but we're in the key of E, just in case you didn't notice how different it sounds, okay? So Big Bill Broonzy plays the blues in E, so the chords, if you're thinking in E, will be I got the E to the B chord. I built out and bound to go. I'm gonna E here running to B. Walking is most to E, 2, 3, 4, and back to B. Note that usually if you're playing it in E, you're doing this kind of shuffle thing on the E and the A, but when it comes to the B, most commonly playing this B7 here. Although interestingly here, in one of the key things of the Broonzy style is this playing a B7 like that. So this is kind of this chord or open A7 that you might play like that, moved up a little bit. Some interesting things. I'm not going to go into massive detail at this point. I might revisit this lesson when I feel like I got it down a little bit of myself, but really interesting start. He plays open D and then the 4th fret, and then he's playing this, which is the top part of the B7 chord, and putting his little finger down the 7th fret in triplet pattern. But interestingly, he's playing the open A string, which is, it's kind of wrong. It's the wrong note. It should be a B, but obviously you can't play that B and do this lick at the same time, so he just plays the A note. Kind of sounds wrong, but it also sounds so good. So and then this little open D string to the 2nd fret, getting to our A. He starts the A, he's playing the fairly consistent bass here with the thumb, but he plays an A6, then little 2nd finger goes down on the 3rd fret of the thinner string. Okay, it's a little bit complicated pattern again if you listen to it or check this out slowly, but the very last note there he plays is the E. Okay, regular E. He actually plays the bass note, then the chord, I think. Chord with the finger. And we've got this little, it's this little E7 chord that you might have learned already. He plays third string, thinner string, second string and third string together. 1 and 2 triplet, 3 trip. The whole shape, move down, back up. Second finger, 4th fret on the 3rd string with the open B string. A, which is the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Now here, I'm hearing the low E string and the E note on the 2nd fret, but it does feel awkward to play that bass note, but it's what I'm hearing. Then there's the E with the little 1st finger hammer on. Very kind of classic. 1 and 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 triplet. So this is another kind of interesting big Bill thing that I've actually noticed him do on video. From the E, he plays the 3rd fret, the 4th fret with the 3rd finger on the thicker string. Then the note B with the 1st finger, flicks it off, and then replaces that same note with the 2nd finger to get to the B7. 1 and 2 triplet, 3. Okay, very interesting move. When it comes to the verses, Big Bill tends to play it like the E. His style very much is kind of 1st finger pulling up and then just plodding around with the thumb on the thickest finger. He was a very fine guitar player. He doesn't always stick to very kind of regimented patterns, which makes it complicated to learn. But yeah, you got this. You can play whatever rhythm you really want there on the E. Then it goes to B. I think he plays B bass note. Then has a bit of a play around on that. Then the A. Now here I'm just playing up the melody. I can't remember exactly what Bill's playing at that point, but he's got a few different versions as well. You could go back to the shuffle, doing one of those little, could be a nice little folding the 3rd finger over to get that note A. Walk up maybe to the B. This is all just optional stuff that you might like to play around with. Just when I've been doing versions on the B7, I've been pulling little melody. It's not particularly difficult. Open B string, 2nd fret, still on the 2nd string, the B string. That's the only hard part really, sliding from the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret on the thinner string, 2nd fret to the E chord. And I'm going to show you this little turnaround, which definitely isn't on the Big Bill Broonzy thing. It's just what I use when I'm playing the song, and I think it sounds nice. I'll share that with you as well. Okay, and that is going from the E, 1, 2. This is 1st finger, 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and the 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the thicker string. 2nd finger moves up, little finger goes down on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and then 2nd finger moves up again, 1st finger goes down on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And then you've got a bit of an awkward stretch here, 7th fret on the thicker string, 4th fret on the 3rd string, but you could always play that open as well. The idea here, you've got this chromatic movement going at the same time. So this kind of thing where they're moving in opposite directions. But I just find from going here, it just works better that way to have that 2nd finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I really would encourage you to experiment with this tune yourself. You might go for the big Bill Broonzy kind of chord melody, kind of fancy pants stuff going on in the key of E, or you might stick to a more basic shuffle like Eric, or maybe you'll combine the two things and start to embellish the chords in the A and find a different way of playing the melody and put in your own turnaround. I really feel like that the playing blues standards, part of the beauty of them is being able to experiment with them and come up with your own version. I think there is benefit to learning the actual versions. I've enjoyed, fumbling around with this big Bill Broonzy one for a little bit. It's given me some new ideas for things that I can bring to my own improvised arrangements. But don't feel like you have to do that. So when I'm improvising, I don't play it exactly that way. I kind of nick some of those ideas and some ideas from somewhere else and try and combine them together. That's part of the joy of this style. And, I really would encourage you to explore all of these blues standard tunes and see what you come up with. Make them a little bit your own. Really hope you enjoy that. Tons of blues lessons over on the website. You might want to go and check them out, and do go and have a look at my blues immersion course if you really want to give yourself a bit of a kick with the blues thing. Pretty intensive 6-month course that you might want to sign up for when it next opens up. Hope you enjoyed this one and have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. Bye-bye.